Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Finish fans, the Big Finish stream that me and Luke do. Today, we're doing a bit of a throwback to when Big Finish fans first started in 2015 and taking a look at the Locum Doctors Trilogy, a trilogy what we weren't too keen on when it first came out. So it'll be interesting to see how it fares, whether we've got sort of nostalgia for it, and I guess to coincide to celebrate 40 and the Annihilators. Once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Yes, hello everyone. 2015. Now this is coming up to 7-year anniversary, which is crazy to think. 'Cause this is like the time when we were really getting into Big Finish, wasn't it? Like 2014, we both got started on it, but I think now is the time it was picking up for us, and we were getting the
We were into the
majority of
new stuff.
releases.
Yeah.
We were like, this is the news that was coming out around the time that we had got into it. So this is like one of the first big events that we thought, here we go. And we got really excited and then we were a bit let down, maybe. But yeah, maybe we've come around on it now. We'll have to wait and see.
Maybe we've mellowed with age. I think that's a thing to remember.
Yeah, we're less reactionary in a lot of ways. But yeah,
that'd be fun.
It's funny thinking like this was 200 releases of the monthly range we're celebrating now, and now we've got up to 2,200 and not 2,000, bloody hell.
I mean,
275, and it's come to a close. We're in a new era of Big Finish with these box sets, and like you say, it sort of ties in with 40 and the Annihilators. As on the one hand, with 40, we have the Doctor being thrown around his time stream, and this, while 40 is just within the Fifth Doctor's own personal time stream, his own bit of the bubble. This is Doctors being thrown into other Doctors' places. And then Third Doctor, these were both sort of fresh starts for the Third Doctor in many ways. Like even though it was the Seventh Doctor in it, this was our first real taste of the Third Doctor's era in full cast form. And I think that's the funny thing, thinking back to this time and listening to this, is remembering that we had no real representation for these first 3 eras in a full cast format.
Well, the early adventures started the year before, wasn't it? It was 2014, wasn't it? The early adventures kicked off.
But even then, that's still a fair bit of narration. I think the first series relied on it more. I feel like as they've gone on, they have eased into less narration and also more recasts as well. Because it wasn't until 2015 with the Yes Men that Ben, the first recast in the early adventures, came along.
We had Tim as well. This was our first proper listen at Tim, in a way.
Yeah, this is almost like a backdoor pilot, isn't it, for the Third Doctor Adventures?
Yeah.
But yeah.
More on that later, I guess.
Yeah. And also both written by Nicholas Briggs as well, with the Defectors and the Annihilators. He's like kicking off 2 new eras for the Third Doctor in a way.
It'll be interesting to see how they both fare.
Yeah, which one we prefer.
I think I know which one I prefer.
Yeah. But yeah, it's also funny looking back at this and seeing how limited they were in terms of casting, because a lot of these is the only ones they can do without a recast. Like
it was a way of using them, wasn't it? Really, it was a way of utilizing the earlier companions, because I think because those companions never had a space in the main range. I mean, Zoe and Jamie had it with the sort of older Jamie stuff with City of Spires, Wreck of Titan, and Legend of a Cybermen. But this was like the first proper time when you got classic companions as classic companions in their respective eras properly, really.
Yeah, and this is very much a time when recasts themselves were very much frowned upon. Big Finish were dipping their toes into it, but they weren't quite ready to push the boat out yet. So it's you can sense that with these releases. You can sense that they're very much awkwardly tiptoeing around it. But yeah, we will get into a lot of that very soon.
Yeah, so while we wait for a few people to join, Luke, what have you been doing? How have you been occupying yourself since our last little chat?
Enjoying the sunshine, really. Less so the rain. We've had quite a bit of back and forth with the weather, but it looks like the sun is holding strong for now. And it's getting nice and warm as well.
Yeah, lighter nights. It's all good, isn't it?
Yeah, always just helps the mood a bit, really, doesn't it? As we approach the summer now, it sort of cheers us up a bit. It gives us something to look forward to. It's that taste of things to come, really. and then we'll be complaining that it's too hot soon. So we'll make the most of it we can.
Yeah, I like it when it's sort of the sun's out, but it's still got a bit of coolness in the air. I'm like, yeah, this is the perfect
You don't need a
sort of
cooling
balance.
breeze, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want to be shivering too much. But yeah, also listening to the new Fourth Doctor solo box set, which is halfway through the first story. Having a good time with it. Fingers crossed for.
How dare you?
Yeah, certainly there's been one or two. Well, just one really big controversy with that set. And I mean, we've talked about that before on previous streams when we've discussed news relating to it. But yeah, I think, stories themselves are really solid so far. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get around to discussing that in detail in another stream sometime.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be this month or May. I don't know how we're working it, but I'm sure we'll talk about solo at some point in depth.
Yeah, I think most releases at this point get an in-depth discussion from us one way or the other.
Yeah, whether it's been in what we've been up to or in the actual topic of the stream.
Yeah, certainly. Blood of the Time Lords. I'm surprised that it took place directly after Deadly Assassin, actually. Yeah. Like, I knew they sort of references a bit of a sequel, but I didn't think they were going that long with it. And there was a line where he mentions Sarah, the Fourth Doctor does.
Yeah.
And it like tugs at the heartstrings a bit there.
I guess especially when you've seen Tom in our Sarah Jane documentary on season 14, like well up, you're like, oh, that must have hit him quite hard recording that. Yeah.
Yeah, but quite a long time before Sadie was cast as well. Because this was recorded
2017?
Yeah, this was recorded 2017. When was Return of the Cybermen?
That was 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about
right. About 2 years before.
Yeah, November 2019. So yeah, 2 years and a half, really. But yeah, it was weird. I listened to the first set of extras on this because they like give you 2 episodes, then you have a set of extras, then you get the next 2 episodes, then you get the second set of extras. Like listening to those interviews, and one of the actresses mentions a female doctor as like this hypothetical thing because at the time that this was recorded, we were 2 months away from Jodie's announcement, and now as they release it, we're 2 episodes away from the end of her era.
It's just mental, isn't it? How far they've recorded these,
Yeah, it just like puts it into perspective a bit.
It just makes you wonder how many does Tom record a year?
What are we up to now? Like, what do you think is the furthest away he's recorded?
Realistically,
yeah,
I think you've got to be at least looking at 20.
Yeah,
I think if we're on season 11.
What season 20?
Series
20. Yeah,
Series 20. I reckon we're up to there with Tom.
Yeah, that'd be 2021, 2031. Sorry.
But it makes you think maybe could we get a Tom at the start of the year and then the end of the year? That would have been nice. Get like 2 series worth, a bit like what they're doing with Eccleston, so you get 4 box sets. But I don't know, they're stockpiling Tom, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Tom gets loads of other releases as well, like Philip Hinchcliffe, comic adaptations and stuff. I'm sure there's other things planned as well. So it's not. Whereas Eccleston, so far, he has only been in his own adventures. So I'm sure it probably just about evens out.
Well, he said he wants to be a lone wolf, so that's Eccleston now, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's him.
I mean, speaking of... Actually, no, not speaking of. First, how have you been?
How have I been?
Yes.
I've not been playing cricket, despite the look. Yeah, just busy with uni, commuting. So I've been able to listen to Secret History in practically one journey, which has been nice just to get that all ready for the stream. I've been editing our third Doctor tier list video. If you've not checked them out, please do. Season 7 and Season 8 are out. Once this stream's over, I'll put a little link in the description below. So if you're watching this after this has gone out live, and check it out. Season 9 will be dropping on Tuesday, and they'll be dropping every Tuesday until we run out of Pertwee seasons.
Yeah. Set for content for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of a little gap. So you get two episodes of me and Luke. I'm sure that's what you all love. And that was a little extra bonus to keep you going before the stream on Friday.
Yeah. Brian Smith, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you. Hope you are well as well.
Yeah. Well as you can do, I guess. Everything going on. Yeah, it's good to get that Third Doctor stuff out of the way because we recorded it back in September. We're now in March.
Yeah,
we've sort of like 6 months.
Recorded it as the sun was slipping away from us, and now you get it as it comes back to us.
Yeah, and it's like watching it afresh. So it's good, like just revisiting what we said, going, oh, we were really in our stride then.
Yeah, we've lost our mojo now.
We lost our mojo because like that was when we were recording practically week after week. Doing like 2 or 3. So it felt like we were really in like a nice groove. So it was quite nice revisiting that, and we still do have the groove. But yeah, I feel like we were on fire back then.
Yeah, we were like a well-oiled machine, weren't we?
Yeah.
Like over that summer, we did definitely one every week for quite a good while.
From like July till September, definitely.
Yeah, I think we were running out of ideas after a while, weren't we? Whereas now it's the opposite. We got so many of them, but often not enough time to get through them all. I mean, I say that this was an idea we had almost a year ago.
But I feel like it's come full circle with like linking it with 40 and the Annihilator. So I feel like
we've almost left it too late. But
yeah, here it is.
Yeah. Here it is. It's never a bad time for a bit of nostalgia.
Oh no! I mean, Doctor Who's full of nostalgia, so let's celebrate it and honor it.
Yeah. Shall we have a look at the news?
Yeah, let's do a bit of news, and then we'll have a look in the chat, and then begin our little throwback review. There's not too much news. It's been a fairly quiet news week for Big Finish, which I guess is good for your wallet.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Mel. Mel says, loving the jumper.
I thought I'd honour good old Davo tonight with the jumper. There we go. Share screen.
Brian says, when I bought the trilogy, I was surprised as I thought Last of the Cybermen would be best, but I found the Fifth Doctor's Secret History the best of the 3. Now, you'll have to see how we fare with it. But yeah, I think Last of the Cybermen was the one that we were all hyped for the most, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, news first.
News first, yeah. So from our last stream, we've had Solo, like we've talked about briefly. We've had the Doctor Who Unbound, Doctor of War, Genesis trailer, which, my God, this is such an exciting trailer.
It's a very good trailer. Like, Big Finish trailers, they often miss a bit. It's hard to translate the audio medium to a trailer often, isn't it? Because trailers, you want to have those quick, snappy cuts and things. And audio doesn't really allow for that. You need longer scenes. You need time to really be set in that. But yeah, this trailer does something quite interesting, doesn't it? It's like a one long monologue, and then you have little snaps of other stuff going on. Yeah, it's an exciting one.
I'm very excited for this release. I just think there's normally a release in the year where I'm really looking forward to that, and I think that's the Doctor of War box for me at the minute. I feel like it's that same hype level of Dalek Universe in a way.
Really? That much?
I just from that trailer and like having Tom in it and sort of that recreation of Genesis, like this is going to be something quite special. I think it's going to be one of those releases what it's going to be looked back on, and I think maybe because it's leaning in. It's interesting because it's sort of Big Finish is sort of maybe I'm trying to think how to word it, like sort of a tribute of itself, really.
Yeah, it does feel like
nostalgia for itself.
Throwback, doesn't it? It feels like something they would have done a while. Well, I mean, the Unbound range itself was something they did a while back,
but it does feel like Big Finish can now play off its own nostalgia, really, which I think is fine. I think it's definitely earned it.
I think it's one of those moments as well where we have often thought what would have been. I mean, the Doctor himself has mentioned it before, like how things might be different if he had gone through with that. And now we see that maybe they wouldn't have been better for it if he had wiped out the Daleks.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be an exciting one. I'm sure.
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm most curious about, oddly, is the fact that they're returning to Iridius, the planet from the chase.
Oh, that's a throwback and a half, isn't it?
Yeah.
the dull episode of The Chase.
Somewhat curious to see how that one works out.
I'm sure.
I suppose Nicola Bryant's talking in an English accent as well during the trailer, actually.
I saw somebody criticise again, why is Nicola Bryant putting an English accent? I'm like, do you not realise she's actually British?
Yeah.
It's unbound. You can get away with it. You can get away with it.
That's probably a reason for it.
And Colin is sounding good. Yeah, he's definitely sounding like his younger self in it.
Yeah, got more of a gruffness to him as well, which makes sense for Doctor of War.
It's very good. It's looking very promising. Looking very promising.
Wish it had a slightly better cover still, but
here we go. Well, we're Doctor Who fans. We're never happy.
Yeah, we've always got to complain about something.
What other bits of news have we got then?
Sherlock Holmes, if anyone's interested in that.
Won an awards. The Seamstress one, was it, or something like that?
Yeah, I think this looks like it's a sequel to it.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a brief read of the description, and they mentioned the Seamstress. So
I was tempted to pick it up because it was on sale, and from what I've listened to of the Sherlock Holmes stuff, I've enjoyed it.
It's just having an extra thing you don't want to commit to.
Yeah, it's just that thing of going, oh, if I get hooked, I'll have to get the others. But for now, I'll leave Sherlock for a little bit. But it's definitely something I would like to dive more into.
I suppose at least with Sherlock, you don't have too much of it. Like, I think it's usually only about one release a year at this point, so you're not swamped, unlike with Doctor Who.
I'm sure they'll do a Sherlock sale, and I might cave and pick a few more. Because I've only picked up 2 of them so far, and I've enjoyed the 2 I've listened to. Bit of news for you.
Yeah, the robots now. Have you read this news article?
No.
I'd say steer clear of it. There's some spoilers in it for earlier sets if you ever do get around to listening to it.
I should get around to it. I should. Yeah. But yeah, are you excited for it? Since robots seems to be I wouldn't say guilty pleasure, but one what surprised you.
Yeah, it's more like my little corner of Big Finish at this point, because it's one that doesn't seem to get too much praise. I think it must sell reasonably well because they extended it for another 2 box sets. But yeah, it feels a bit weird at this point, having been so long since the last set. Like, I feel like I've ridden the high of it and died off again.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this one gets me back into it. I don't know. The stories themselves, it's all like from the descriptions, it's hard to tell where they're going with this. It's like, is it going to justify extending it for another 2 sets? But yeah, hopefully it's just because of major plot things. They can't spoil too much in those descriptions. I mean, the last episode, Caldor Nights, is apparently set on a reality TV show on Caldor, so that should be interesting doing some of that. But yeah, the other 2 stories don't seem to be doing too much different. So it's also odd that we don't have Pamela Salem here in this.
Was it recorded during lockdown or?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, this was done January this year.
Okay.
So not lockdown, but yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully she's back for the 6th set, because it felt like they were building to something with her for the first 4 volumes. So it feels weird to just drop her off now.
Maybe they're having to like rework those 2 boxes because of David Collins, maybe. So they maybe had to sort of rework those 2 characters. I don't know.
I mean, they found a way to write him out that was done like pre-recorded dialogue in the 4th set. So I think they don't have to worry about him too much. But yeah, it feels odd that Pamela's not here. Also, same cover artist. So it's like because the first 4 covers were made all together. So they did very much have this feel of being part of the same series.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was slightly concerned that maybe they'd throw it off with the last 2 covers, especially with what Big Finish have done with some of their covers recently. But no, luckily they have kept Ryan Applin around. So he has got to do this cover. And I'm assuming he'll do the last one as well.
I think it's probably a safe bet.
Yeah. I'd say it's one of the weaker covers, though. But there's only so much you can do with it, isn't there, at this point? You got your robot on the cover.
You got your Liv, you got a sister in it.
Yeah. That's bad. I'm forgetting her. Tula.
There you go. You can keep your robot's fan card for now.
Yeah. It was slipping off there, but I pinned it back on.
There you go. You got your badge back on.
Yeah. Brian Smith says he loves the Sherlock Holmes Big Finish stuff. So there's a endorsement for you to pick it up.
From what I've listened, I've enjoyed it. But it's interesting getting a non-Doctor Who Big Finish because I had it with like the Invisible Man. I was like, well, this isn't really nice, and I felt kind of classy experiencing like non-Doctor Who audio.
Yeah, that's sort of saying that even when Doctor Who does this really out there stuff, you almost feel like it's got a stain on it because it's Doctor Who. Even though we love Doctor Who, there is some.
Because when I did radio,
it's not as prestige, is it?
Yeah, because when I did like radio at uni, we had to do like a listening diary of like all the radio stuff you listen to. So I was too scared to go, I've listened to this Doctor Who one. So I was like, I've listened to Sherlock Holmes and The Invisible Man by Big Finish. But then I was like, I'm going to sneak Dalek Universe on this because it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did something similar when we had our writing for radio module when I was back at uni. You don't want to be outright like, I've listened to loads of audio drama. Look at me.
Yeah, and then they find out it's just Doctor Who. Yeah. And then they're like, well, isn't that a bit narrow? I'm like, Doctor Who's full of limitless possibilities.
Yeah, like you got so much diversity in there anyway, diversity of stories and such, different actors, different tones.
It's just because
at the same time, when you got it on paper, it's all under that same banner. So
yeah, when it has some fine audio drama. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a 70-year-old man because I listen to audio drama because it doesn't seem like a young person thing to do.
I think it is coming back around though.
Lockdown saw a big boom in it, didn't it? With like audio drama. I guess people are getting more into audio because of podcasts.
Yeah, it's weird. There's like this American trend now where like it's now a podcast, but it's scripted and it's got all this. It's like a film, but it's a podcast, and we're just sitting here like that's just audio drama.
They just discovered it.
Inventing, yeah.
It was like when they discovered like the chip sandwich. They were like, "Whoa, there's this thing called a fry sandwich." My God.
Yeah, I think it's like Audible's really doing that now, isn't it? It's quite big budget. Well, not big budget in terms of paying the actors, big name actors, to get into a studio and record it. But yeah, I think they're very much going all out of it.
I mean, I do love radio. I do love it.
Yeah, not quite radio, but I did have I think she was 7 or 8-year-old girl told me that she was listening to an audiobook. So
okay,
like it's not just old people now. Get the young'uns in there too.
Yeah, because I think that's a wonderful thing if there's like an audiobook and a book that the kid can read along with the book.
Yeah, that's true.
So if there's a word they can't read, don't worry, the audiobook's got you covered. You can learn the words through that. Yeah. Marvelous stuff. Speaking of marvelous,
a very good book for that actually. Sorry.
Oh, go on.
Is did you ever watch a series of Unfortunate Events series?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the narrator in that, Patrick Warburton? It's Warburton. He sort of stops the plot every once in a while to explain a word that's been brought up in comedic fashion, and I'm pretty sure that's something that's taken from the books as well, where they'll explain a new word. And so I imagine that's great in audiobook form.
I'll have to try it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there must be audiobooks of that series because how
probably
popular it is. Yeah,
probably is.
But yeah. Anyway, we've put it off long enough now. The big news of the week:
the Ninth Doctor back to Earth.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Which weirdly doesn't feel that big.
No, because he's been to Scotland practically every box set.
Yeah, the very last story was on Earth anyway.
And then you have Old Lang Syne when you're like, are we back in Scotland because of that?
No, maybe.
Because that's like a Hogany song, isn't it, for New Year? Old Lang Syne, isn't it?
Yeah, but you got Wendy Craig in there, and who's the other actress? They're meant to be in the last story. Hayley
Tamiden.
They're not Scottish, are they? Certainly Wendy Craig isn't.
I mean, Wendy Craig's become a bit of a regular.
Yeah, she did her.
Especially last year, she was in the Golf, and the David Bradley Shakespeare one. She was Queen Elizabeth I.
Yeah. I've looked up Hayley. It's not giving me much because it just says she's a British actress.
There we
go. English mother. There we go.
Okay.
And Iranian father. So, unless they're getting them to put on Scottish accents.
So we don't have too much details on it. We've got Station to Station, which I guess is the train one.
Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, that's apparently got a fairy tale-esque villain in it.
Okay.
At the top there, underneath the short synopsis of the whole box set, it says he encounters a fairy tale-esque villain, travels to Moscow in 1605, and in the closing story, crashes a family's New Year's gathering.
Which I guess will suit Eccleston because he's a domestic doctor, isn't he? Really?
Because we're getting a New Year's story in the middle of the year, but
maybe save it. Maybe save it for December.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be an interesting
one. Yeah, I think it's just waiting for the cover really at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that'll be the 26th of March since they like to keep the celebration to Series 1.
Yeah, I imagine so.
That'll be exciting to get that and then finally order it.
Yeah, I have to get the mullet money out the wallet and go for the bundle.
Yeah, ditching the vinyls for now.
Yeah.
Hopefully we still have individual cover art for them. Hopefully it's like an error like they did with Fourth Doctor Solo.
Still not been updated yet. It still says that it's 4-disc dual case slip cover, so not looking great.
I mean, I think the Eccleston stuff sold incredibly well, so I think it's pretty safe to say that we'll get individual cover art.
Yeah, I think it'd be weird having the gatefold vinyls without the cover art, and if they're doing it for the vinyl, they might as well do it for the CD as well.
Yeah, because I think every Eccleston box set from last year was in the bestsellers, so I think it's pretty safe to say.
Yeah,
I think this will continue, and I think it will continue because the Eccleston stuff just has that momentum because it's like a little break, it's back again, little break, it's back again. I think that they've really worked how the Eccleston stuff works best. Really, I think it should be a format going forward. Really, unlike Stranded where you had 3 box sets of Eccleston, and then you finished Dalek Universe in between Stranded 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, at least now we're not having to wait too long for the final of Stranded, but yeah, certainly they dragged that out a bit. But I think with the relaunch, it seems they're trying to move away from that now anyway. Well, say that 40.
Yeah, 40 hasn't. But that was originally going to be April, wasn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, hello, stylish one. Hello, YouTube.
Hello.
joining us.
Thank you for joining. I guess that's all the news.
Yeah. Oh, Stardust One says, if we're talking about other ranges, then I love Survivors. I think you got the first box set, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I think
It
a
wasn't
few
me.
people jumped on that trip. Was it Casterbrus and Tom?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Kai and Tom. Yeah,
I think
they got those.
Don't know whether James did or not.
No, I don't think James did.
No. Yeah, I just remember that was like the thing everyone was obsessing over back in 2014 when it first started. Like, was it 2014 or 15?
Yeah, I think it was like 2014. Yeah, it's got to be 2014.
Yeah, like everyone was picking up the first box set saying, wow, it's amazing, look how dark this is. Again, it's like that thing of you have that prestige bit not being Doctor
Who. Yeah, you're like, wow, I'm sophisticated.
Yeah, look at me listening to this dark stuff as people die horribly from a disease.
And then flash forward a couple of years, we were in that that situation.
Yeah, it was June 2014, the first box set. But yeah, and then it sort of fell off a bit. No one really bothered with the next few sets. At least that we did. I mean, obviously some people did because it done well enough to get 9 series.
Yeah, I think Kai got like up to 5 boxes. Like, no, I'm checking out now. I think it was 5.
Yeah, it seems like an idea that you can't keep going for too long.
Like a limited series, but yeah.
I mean, I think they brought back the plague again, didn't they, at one point? But it was a second wave of it, which makes sense. But
yeah,
you sort of do it. It's like you've already done that.
Yeah. Oh well. Let's have a quick look in your chat, shall we?
Brian Smith also says Survivors is a great one. YouTube is setting up their Doctor Who collection.
Well, hopefully we can provide a bit of entertainment while you do that. Trevor Hicks, it's in keeping with Eccleston seasons mostly be set on Earth. That's true, because season 1 was very much centered around Earth, wasn't it? It didn't go to another planet. That's why the first series of Eccleston was so out there, I guess, really.
I see a weird criticism on Facebook. It would be Facebook. Like,
yeah, it would be.
It would not come from anywhere else. Where someone said, the BBC understand doing all these Earth-based stories because they have a budget to worry about. But you, Big Finish, you can go anywhere. Be more imaginative. I don't want 3 stories set on Earth. I was just sitting there thinking,
you don't have to buy it.
No. Okay. And also, it can be set anywhere. Earth itself has a lot of different places for things to be set. There's no reason we can't have all these stories here. In fact, it's a lot easier to imagine most Earth-based stories compared to a lot of space ones.
Especially now we've got rid of individual cover arts, and like the booklets used to have the concept like artwork as well. Whereas they sort of helped you get into a story, whereas you don't really have that as much.
Yeah, you don't have an instant point of reference now, so it does help set the scene a lot with Earth-based stories. Oh, Starshwell says the person who said that must hate Stranded. Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah. I mean, even Stranded was too scared to stay on Earth for too long. It soon shifted back to, hey, let's go in space.
Right. Well, Stardust One says people aren't overreacting about how dark Survivors is. It gets really dark. No.
I mean, the War Master's pretty dark, but probably not Survivors dark.
Oh, well, this is... Stardust One also says Survivors sold incredibly well during the pandemic. Funny. I guess we get very morbid as a race.
Maybe people wanted like survival tips. And like, how did that work with Terry Nation series?
It was originally going to be continued in a Companion Chronicles format box set, but boosted up to 2 full cast sets as a continuation. There we go.
So maybe lockdown made those sales happen. I don't know.
I'm surprised that they were considering a Companion Chronicles style, because that's very much seems to be something they're moving away from. Like, it seems they either want something to be completely full cast now, or have it be a full-on audiobook.
I was going to say maybe it was a bit of a niche thing, but obviously if it was doing well in the pandemic, then there's no reason to. But maybe because Survivor's in the grand scheme of Big Finish's audience, it would make sense to the Companion Chronicle style, but they're definitely moving away with that with Doctor Who, aren't they? Because I think Doctor Who's their main bread and butter.
Yeah. Greetings, Mr. Bonk Cactus.
Hello, hello. The TV series of 5 was pretty dark. I feel like I should give that a watch at some point. I feel like I am missing that sort of cultural thing. That and Blake 7, I feel like I should get onto.
Yeah. I have seen Blake 7 of the two. I haven't seen Survivors though. Well, some of Blake 7 at least. I think more than 50%.
But I'm quite happy to rewatch an episode I've watched like 50 times over starting something new.
It's that comfort, isn't it?
Yeah. I fancy that story tonight. I'll watch that. Yeah. I guess should we move on to our little review section?
Yeah, I suppose if we're transitioning into Locum Doctors, I just want to ask favourite Locum Doctors cover. Might as well get it out of the way first.
It's definitely between Secret History and Last of the Cybermen for me.
I'd say Last of the Cybermen for me.
Yeah, I think I like the way that's done.
Yeah.
I like the Colin photo. I think that's from Vengeance on Varos. I say.
Might be.
Just
looking them up for reference.
But yeah, I like that one. It's a nice simple one. But then I like Secret History. I like that, and I love the sidebar on the Locum Doctors Trilogy.
Yeah, I think that's what also lets Locum Doctors down a bit. Secret History down a bit. Is that the images aren't really as well put into the sidebar?
I think. Well, go on.
Like the Sixth Doctor one is very much the Sixth Doctor's head in the Second Doctor's titles. The Seventh Doctor one, it feels like the Seventh Doctor's head in the Third Doctor's titles, but the Fifth Doctor one, it sort of feels like a mix of both because you've still got the Starfield going on, haven't you?
Yeah.
And that's even in the main cover as well. But yeah, I say Last of the Cybermen for me because it's not too busy. I think Secret History maybe pushes it a bit too far, has a bit too much going on.
And Secret History has an inaccuracy on the cover.
What's that?
Stephen's referenced wearing a blue tunic, which is obviously like the blue shirt he wore in like the Ark and stuff like that. And obviously he probably didn't have his beard, but I guess if he was stuck building chariots and stuff like that, maybe
I think he wasn't there that long though.
No,
yeah, the beard feels a bit odd because obviously he got rid of that right before.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just a link with like time. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, maybe he's just not shaved for a while in the TARDIS.
Yeah, maybe just being a lazy boy.
Yeah. Maybe when time went wrong as the Fifth Doctor slipped in there, like their age was accelerated a tiny bit, just enough for him to grow a beard.
Yeah.
It doesn't, yeah. And I mean, yeah, Secret History cover also spoiled a bit of a reveal.
I'm surprised with like the actual. I mean, I guess we can talk spoilers about Secret History when we get to it. Yeah. But I am surprised they didn't in the cast list put like Quintus or.
Yeah, like it's perfectly set up there, but no, it was like fully obvious.
I mean, maybe it was Quintus back in the day.
Certainly on the physical copy, though, it says the monk. Yeah, I suppose should start with the defectors.
I think before we do that, I think it's let's talk about the idea of the Locum Doctors.
Oh yeah, as a whole, yeah.
Because I think on paper it is a really good idea. And
it's something that could go on for ages, really, isn't it?
I was thinking to this when I was listening to it on the train. Well, one of the stories on the train, I was like, do you know what? They could happily do this for like the 60th anniversary, and I would be content with. something like this. Because
It's nice
there's talk
mixing things
of
up, isn't it?
because there's all talk of like a Doctor getting its own like mini series, and you're like, well, maybe that would be a nice little tie-in to each little mini series, but it all links, and this is a one way of doing it.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be a multi-Doctor thing, but it can still have that celebratory feel that way. I have something to justify it. Yeah.
But it is a good idea. Whether the execution works, we'll find out. But on paper, it's a good idea. It is a good idea, and it definitely sparks that joy of it. It's sort of, I want to say, action figure type of story where you get your figure of your Doctor and the companion. Go, wouldn't that be an interesting story to tell? It very much feels like a toy box story.
Yeah,
an idea.
True. I mean, even more so with the fact that they were limited in the choices because a lot of actors have passed, and you're limited when it comes to action figures. So that's often why you mix up the action figures because, well, I mean, they're filling in a lot of gaps now, character, but certainly back at this time, back in 2015, you didn't have a lot of them. I mean, people were using older Sarah Jane as young Sarah Jane alongside the Fourth Doctor figures, weren't they? Because they didn't have any other choice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you used like your school reunion, Sarah.
I'm sure there's some people who got like some HM Armed Forces action figures or something just to have unit troops in there, even though they're not quite the same. But yeah, so it's a brilliant idea, and so I was hoping that maybe they do a little extra special one in there as well. Have like the 8th Doctor and 4th Doctor era.
That would have been nice.
Yeah,
as a nice sort of celebration. Because it was all leading up to 200, because at that point the main range was apparently so overcomplicated they wanted it to be a soft reboot when you got to Wheel of Daleks, which I still think is one of a good jumping on point if you want to get into Big Finish.
That really is.
But as a trilogy, you can cherry pick it. You can listen
like it's
to
only really the final story that explains everything. It's not like you're getting pieces of the explanation as you go along. It's literally just this idea done 3 times, and the final time is when you get the answer as to why this is happening. There's no hints or anything, even.
No. I mean, you get more of a hint in the Defectors than you do in Last of the Cybermen about why the Doctor's there.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's more of the Seventh Doctor's nature.
Yeah, and it's also just him hypothesizing as well, trying to work it out. He's not really going off of any solid facts as such. He's just theorizing, but because he can't remember the original events when he was the 3rd Doctor, he doesn't know for certain what's going different. He's just trying to work it out, which I think makes for some interesting drama, really, in that story.
Should we move on to Defectors? Or
yeah, let's go for it. 4-parter by Nicholas Briggs, diving back into the 3rd Doctor's era. And our first real taste of it at Big Finish in full cast form.
It's such an interesting one looking back, because you don't have the Brigadier, but the way they try and incorporate the Brigadier into the story, I think, is tactfully done.
It doesn't feel as tired as it does by the time you get to Volume 4 of 3rd Doctor Adventures, say.
Yeah. I think it probably works better here because there's an actual reason why the Brig's not there and why you think he's there within it, compared to with the box sets where it's like, oh, the Brigadier's sent us off here to deal with this.
Yeah, I think Storm of the Horrifacts, that's the worst offender, I would say. But yeah, here it works really well. And you have nice little bits from Mike Yates every now and then as well,
which is nice.
We do miss because it's been since 2015. Well, 17 with Unit Assemble, but yeah, 2015 in terms of him with the 3rd Doctor, or in the 3rd Doctor's era. So yeah, which is just bizarre to think.
I mean, he's not in it a great deal because it's very much Joe and the Doctor have been sent on this little island, and there's a whole mystery to uncover of why they're on this island and why this military need help from the Doctor.
Yeah, like very much. The premise for this story is that the third Doctor's been tinkering around at the TARDIS. Joe sees that a bunch of new troops are turning up, and then suddenly, seventh Doctor walks out of the TARDIS, and Joe is left baffled by this. Then turns out all her other friends have been sent off and replaced as well by these new military types who are taking him away in the interest of national security, they say, to this secret little island where things are not as they seem. The food's off, the beer's rotten, the people are overly friendly.
And the soldiers are wearing makeup.
Yeah, there you go. So it's certainly an interesting setup, isn't it? And I think it's
that's
one
where
that hits very hard in part one. It's a very good part one.
I think that's where the story is at its strongest, is part one.
Definitely.
I feel like I like the story more than I did when I first listened to it. I think
same.
my problem with this story, it doesn't feel very Pertwee. I think
it does have some more like 60s style to it. It's very much going for Quatermass too, with its paranoia.
I was sort of thinking with like the military, it felt very sort of Chameleon Tours.
You also get a bit of macro terror in there as well.
Yeah, that's true. With this sort of secretion stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the creatures and stuff. The fact that there are people acting really happy, but turns out they're brainwashed.
But I think there are elements of the Pertwee stuff, like the actual moral compass of like the aliens and that sort of two-sided sort of thing that is like, don't judge a book by its cover and all that sort of stuff, really.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think overall, I feel it's more of a Troughton story than it is Pertwee. I think part one is where you get that lovely sort of espionage, sort of Joe and the Doctor sort of interplay, them trying to work it all out. And I like how Joe's doesn't quite accept it straight away, but she's familiar that there are other Doctors.
Yeah, like this is after the three Doctors for her, so she has met Troughton and Hartnell at this point. And so it's not, they're having a lot of fun together, Katie and Sylve, in this. And it's nice that even though she's not 100% sure this person who's turned up is necessarily the Doctor, she's still sort of playing along with it. She's not like Ben was in The Power of the Daleks, where he's very, like, quite confrontational with the Doctor at first, like quite dismissive. Here, they're sort of stuck together anyway. And there are times where he catches her out. He's like, "You called me Doctor." And I think that's quite fun. And it's nice to see that side from the seventh Doctor as well, who we're also missing a fair bit at the moment.
I think that's one of my big takeaways from listening to The Defectors. Like, you know what? I actually miss the seventh Doctor.
Yeah, same. It hit me really hard during this.
It made me go, I should put on season 26.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, I should put Battlefield on. But yeah, I enjoyed McCoy in this. I enjoyed him. I have missed him now, because I was like, oh, he can be good.
Yeah, I suppose it does sort of send us Sea Devil's direction, doesn't it, with the island setting? Since this is the Doctor and Joe without Unit for the most part, other than little bits of Mike Yates here and there, so it's got that quality to it.
And you don't have like a little nod to like Marines, is it?
Oh yeah, send in the
Marines.
Don't forget to tell the Marines.
Yeah, like my little joke with the Brigadier.
Yeah, call back to Day of the Daleks.
Yeah, so that's nice. But yeah, the creatures, they're such a strange thing to visualize, I find.
Yeah, I think seeing them on the cover almost makes it worse.
Yeah, because like it's like a crab bird, like they're very much an adaptable sort of species, isn't it? From like Jupiter's smallest moon or something like that.
Yeah, Europa.
Yeah. And they sort of sound almost a bit like a cross between like an Arcturan and a new series Cyberman.
Some way. I think they've got a fair bit of like the season 7 monster in them.
I can see that.
The modulated voice. But like, it's modulated in an almost organic way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're certainly one of the weaker sides of this story. They are just a bit odd in a lot of ways. I think especially the size of them, because I think there's a lot of scenes where you got Joe and what's the character's name? The one who's played
Hedgerton?
Yeah, is it Hedgerton? The one who's
With Dave?
played by David Graham.
He's brilliant at it, Dave Graham.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, they're sort of crawling through these quite small spaces to get down to the Europans, and then when they catch sight of them, they sort of, you have that screaming. That's well done, the screams.
Yeah.
But then like you're led to believe that they're chasing after them, but also you're led to think that they're these massive things, and you're wondering like, how is this supposed to work?
Yeah, it doesn't quite match up in your head, does it, with it?
Yeah. Almost being included them on the cover did make things worse, even though usually having that visual cue helps it be a bit better. I think because you have such a ingrained image of it, it doesn't quite line up with their actions in the story.
Yeah, because you think it's smaller than what it is. Yeah, they're a weird bunch.
Yeah.
I think the sort of military characters in it, they're pretty well done. Barnaby Edwards, is like is it Wingford and Cornelius? They're like the two main.
Yeah, they're the two main ones.
Two main ones. They're pretty good.
You got the one who's a lot more upbeat, and then you got the one who's quite tired and ready for it all to be over in a lot of ways. It's quite a nice dynamic there.
I mean, there's a good mystery with those characters, but I think once the mystery's been solved, the story kind of loses its it meanders to get to part 4, and I think that's when the story like sort of shifts to like part 3 and 4, and I'm like, it feels more Second Doctor now.
I wouldn't even say that, to be fair. I feel like it just feels a bit of an awkward third and fourth part. Well, third part. I feel like the fourth part is what really improved for me on this re-listen.
Okay.
And I was much more engaged with the moral dilemma at the end there than I remember being. I think it's got quite a few twists and turns. And yet, again, that ending very much does sort of feel Silurian in a lot of ways.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
It does come back to that. But yeah. It feels like the third part's the weakest of this one.
Yeah, I think as well, because I listened to this on the train as well. It kind of blended all into one. So I didn't feel like it had like a distinct, like that was part 2, that was part 3, and that was part 4. I think part 1's definitely so that's it, and I think part 2's cliffhanger is pretty weak from memory.
Yeah, I can't remember what part 2's cliffhanger was.
It was I think it was like the bar, like the people who run like the little inn, and they were back, and it's like, oh, they're not dead.
I don't.
Oh
yeah, they're down working in the underground base, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's really got to make me want to carry on listening to it.
Yeah. Them in the water, that's a brilliant image for the end of part 1, though.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice grittiness to it, and I like the answer to that. I think that was well done within the actual story itself.
Yeah, I think a lot of the mysteries here have good payoffs. It doesn't feel like stuff's being done just for the sake of mystery. It feels like Nick Briggs has very much constructed this internal logic very well there with the makeup and such. And then you got the mystery of how this happened 20 years ago, but they all seem to look the same.
And then you sort of get them slowly sort of aging as sort of the controls weakened, really.
Yeah. And that sort of plays into the dilemma at the end as well, isn't it? With them already being dead pretty much. Like they can no longer exist without the substance.
That sort of blue goo, which I guess fits like Inferno, that sort of slime thing.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
True. It does, a lot of it does play into Quatermass 2, I feel, with this almost industrial underground setting. And then, like, even it's very different visual images because it's creatures from a moon of Jupiter. I'm pretty sure it's like the same idea there. And they're sort of constructing themselves in these tanks and such, which is a bit different to what the Europans were doing in this story, but it's still playing off that same imagery, I feel. And same with like the spaceship being dug out or lifted out of the water. I think that's a beautiful image.
Yeah,
Like,
that is.
the fact that they talk about it being a day in, I think, October or November, where they suddenly get the sun out.
Yeah, a bit Claws of Axos and like freak weather.
Yeah, but it also, I think, just the way it's described in the script, the way the actors play it, that feels very evocative, very true. It's like it's something that you don't often get in stories, where it just feels, it makes it feel more real. I think if that, yeah, it's something that Russell T Davies does very well, where he like taps into the human experience in a way that we don't even consciously recognize ourselves until it's pointed out. And I think Nick Briggs has done that here with that little moment. And I think, it instantly makes you picture that sort of setting.
I mean, it's a setting you can easily visualize, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, is it Delphon Isle?
Yeah. I think, was it Delphin?
Delphin.
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed up with like the eyebrow.
Yeah. But yeah, more just like that feel of it being a late, a freak day of hot weather in October, November. Like we've all experienced those.
Yeah.
And so it sort of puts us in that mindset of like, it's like low sun, isn't it? But still warm. Yeah. I mean, comparing this to the Defectors, to the Annihilators, which do you prefer?
Oh, the Annihilators, 100%.
Oh, yeah, same. I think you could tell that it's got a lot more room to move within the Third Doctor's era now, because you've got the Brigadier there alone. That just adds so much to what you can do with a Third Doctor era story.
It feels wrong not having the Brigadier in a Third Doctor story.
Yeah.
But again, the Third Doctor had plenty of stories without the Brig, but I feel for something like the Locum Doctors, you really want to play in that sandbox of that era, and you need that character.
Yeah, like you want to go as full on Third Doctor as possible, and the Brigadier is very much what you need for that. Similar to Jamie, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't go back and do a Second Doctor era story without Jamie.
Yeah, it's Ben and Polly. You wouldn't have that, even though that'd be an interesting one to do.
Yeah, I mean, they've already had one Doctor change on them. Imagine how they'd handle it happening again. But yeah, I think certainly it is. Yeah, it does help a lot there. Having the Brigadier in that story just makes it so much more evocative of the era. Whereas here, they're trying their best at what they have. And I think that for that, they do very well. I mean, what do you think of the Brigadier's somewhat involvement in this story?
I completely forgot about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it is like archive footage as well, isn't it? Of Nick Courtney. Very muffled beyond recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really recognise it as Nick Courtney. That might be because I was on the train listening to it as well. But I thought that was tastefully done and tactfully done within the actual story.
It was nice that it was being used as a trap for Joe as well.
Yeah. I think that I liked how it was done. I think that it was a nice way to give the Brigadier a presence within a story without him actually being in it. How about yourself? Did you enjoy that? Or
yeah, I didn't think it was too bad. I think probably earlier on I was expecting a bit more out of it. So I was thinking if you could do that, surely you could maybe get a little bit more, like have a cameo at the end of some kind. But yeah, now, like, because we've got the Brigadier back for one thing, through John Coleshaw, I feel like here it doesn't really bother me as much. And I think going into it knowing the context of it helps a lot there, knowing that it's meant to be a trick. You don't sort of get your hopes up for maybe something more. You don't feel like you're being deceived here, being catfished by the Brigadier.
Yeah. But overall, should we give it a rating?
Yeah, I'd say that's a good idea.
What would you give it out of 10?
Probably 7 or an 8.
I was thinking 6 or 7 myself.
I
think out of the bunch back in the day, this is the one I was the most harsh on, because
you got your Pertwee fanboyness, haven't you? This is the one that has the most to prove to you.
yeah, this one's got a lot to prove in itself.
And I feel like it's also got the most evocative era. Like, I think the Third Doctor's era itself is one you can pin down to a specific flavour, whereas the first and second, they have a lot more diversity in their sort of like tones and stories. Whereas, yeah, the Third Doctor era, there is something very specific about that. And so this story has to nail that.
I think that's why part one's the strongest the story ever is. You know, that would be more in keeping if it was a Hartnell story, because, you know, the curse of the Hartnells. But
yeah,
and I guess that's the same for Secret History, because I think part one's the part I enjoy the most of Secret History. But yeah, I think I enjoy it more, but I think it's never going to be a top 10 Seventh Doctor story for me.
that's fair.
It's all right. It's not one I'll go back to in a hurry.
No.
But it's all right. I think looking back on it with the context we have, it's a nice one to go, okay, that's where we were at with the Third Doctor. Flash forward to like the Annihilators. Well, we've really opened up the world of audio with what we can do.
Yeah. It shows just how far we've come, really, isn't it? It's like, it's a nice footnote in the history of Big Finish.
Yeah.
I think that at one point this was all we could get in terms of full cast for Doctor action. Yeah, but then we got rid of the narration pretty quickly from Third Doctor Adventures, and then it's been growing ever since then.
Brian Smith said I would give The Defectors a 7 out of 10.
That's understandable.
Trevor Hicks, I think I need to listen to a Locum Doctors Trilogy again. I've changed my mind about a lot of Big Finish on second listen, and yes, 7 is fair. Well, that's it. Yeah, seems like we're pretty much on the same page, I think, with that, really. I guess for next stories where it could all change.
Yeah, here we go.
So, second Doctor's your Doctor.
Yeah, it's probably the one I went into more critical of the first time. Because it is playing off of a lot of second Doctor stuff. It's very much playing off Tomb of the Cybermen at first.
Then Evil of the Daleks.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, it does. I remember saying at the time about how, you know, you're aiming big there with Evil of the Daleks. I was just going off its reputation because I hadn't listened or seen it yet. Now that I have watched Evil and stylish one, I'm sorry to bring up my controversial opinion of it again, but it wasn't that great. I can see why this was compared to Evil now, because it is not great either. I went into this one hopeful because I do remember not liking it back in the day, but I was thinking maybe it can do better now. Maybe as I've mellowed, there is some hidden quality to this one that I can really get behind and enjoy. I just couldn't find it. I mean, I was having a lot of fun with the Sixth Doctor and Jamie being together. I think they're a great duo. Zoe in there as well is great. Nothing else in this story works me after a while. It's got a decent part one. Then it's just drags on a lot and it's just a bit of a mess at the end.
Me and you are different then.
Off you go. Praise it.
I really like this one. I don't know why. I think when this came out, I recently, in preparation for Blast for Cyber, I listened to the old Six and Older Jamie trilogy, which I enjoyed. I like that trilogy a lot, but I just had a lot of fun with it, to be honest. I think it was maybe because I hadn't listened to Jamie and Zoe for a long time. It was nice to have those characters back. I will say part 4 did lose me with like the whole time corridor thing and going back to Telos on like it's dying, you know, that thing I didn't really like. Yeah. But other than that, I had a good time. The sort of reveal of the Cybermen was good. Part 1, like I say, is great. The way the Doctor's introduced is great. But yeah, I listened to this
the fact that you've got the second Doctor kind of there as he's running across the surface, and then flash of lightning, boom, he's gone. That is a brilliant way to get the Sixth Doctor into the story.
You have one of my favourite supporting characters.
Oh, Lanky.
I love Lanky.
I was kind of disappointed when I got to the end and it was revealed he wasn't a Cyberman at all anyway.
Yeah.
That one shocked me. I forgot about that twist.
Yeah. That was a surprise. I was like, oh, I thought... I'm trying to find the little edit we did back in the day of Lanky.
Oh, when he's on the tractor.
Yeah, I will try and find it because I love that little thing. I will find it and I'll put it on the stream because it's a little throwback.
I love the joke where he says about what is it? Oh, my name's Lanky, and Zoe's going, oh, because you're tall and got long arms. No, because I'm from Lancashire.
I mean, yeah, he's a good boy. I like Lanky a lot.
Yeah. It's very much what's it called? Nick Briggs' Ninth Doctor as a Cyberman.
It is, isn't it?
He just has one northern accent.
It is basically that, yeah.
Hey, what's going on around here then?
But in a cyber suit. I'm trying to find Lanky. The Cybermen, it's Cyberlight. It is Cyberlight.
Yeah, it doesn't have too much of them in it.
One thing
when you do, they're like the drone Cybermen. And just even though it looks the same and sounds the same, just knowing that it's a drone with no like human parts in it diminishes it a bit, doesn't it?
It seems very much like the Revenge Cybermen, the way I visualized it, because like the voice doesn't seem like the Invasion one. It's interesting to dive into the cyber war, and I think the cyber war has been portrayed better on screen than it has here.
Yeah, I don't think this is a particularly good portrayal of the cyber war. And also it feels rather bizarre timeline-wise, because presumably, like, Tomb of the Cybermen itself is set long after the cyber war.
Yeah.
Like, the Cybermen have been extinct for centuries by that point. And yet here we're only 10 years on from the cyber war, and they're talking about cyber tombs as if they're a common occurrence. That sort of threw me a bit. And I'm pretty sure they even reference a tomb on Telos.
Yeah, they do. They do reference that.
Like, is there any other part of like TV media, at least, that's puts Telos as the heart of the cyber war?
I don't think so.
Because it feels weird to do that here when it's only worked out later on that Telos is their home world. At least the way you feel it from the Tomb of the Cybermen, the way that's portrayed. I think I wouldn't be as critical of this stuff because a lot of the time continuity doesn't line up. There are these things that just don't make sense. We have to roll with that. There are 3 Atlantises in the Doctor Who universe, for one thing, and we just have to accept that. And so, usually I wouldn't let this stuff bother me too much. It's just that it's so baked into this story. References permeate through every line. There is one every 5 seconds, practically. It tries to tie into so much stuff. You have war games in there.
I like that, though. I really like that little tie-in.
I think that little tie. Yeah. Some of them are all right. It just feels like it goes on and on with so many tie-ins. It feels like it's trying to make everything so neat and tidy within the Cybermen. It's trying to explain why they're a bit more emotional in Revenge. But in trying to do that, it makes it stand out like a sore thumb more that it doesn't quite line up. These things are better when they are just left as these little fun inconsistencies for fans to point out and then move on from. Building a story around it so much just doesn't work for me.
We get a little reference to Laird and the McCrimmon.
Yeah.
Which is a nice little thing, which I enjoyed. I'm getting sidetracked trying to find Lanky.
Oh, that's fair. He's still eluding you.
Yeah, I'm just going right back and the archive of my thing. Yeah, I will find Lanky.
Yeah.
I will find him. Just so people can see the joy of
Yeah,
Lanky.
like we've mentioned him now. We need to reveal what we're going on about. This weird edit.
Yeah. Let's see.
Stylish One says, Last Assignment is one of the best uses of the Invasion Cyberman design on the cover. Usually, I
the cyber
really don't
heads.
think it works on covers because I don't like that design almost at all.
Like the cyber head being used as like a beacon. I love the whole action sequence of flying the TARDIS towards the beacon.
Ooh.
I like that.
I'm not as keen on that. That feels a bit
I like that.
more ridiculous.
But
I like the idea that the light on the head is a beacon.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's a. It sort of seems like it's riffing off Asylum of the Daleks in a way like that.
Mm.
You know, you got that big
Dalek
structure at the start of that.
I like the idea of the fleet being lost and sort of trapped in warp speed still, waiting for the signal at the other end to come out. I think that's not too bad. That's a good idea. But yeah, I think a lot more of what I like about this is ideas rather than execution.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah, like this cyber head on a hill, I think, or more a mountain even. I think that's great. The music is brilliant in this.
It's got sort of that creepy, especially when the Doctor disappears. It's got a lovely
eerie,
motif throughout it. Yeah, I like the music within this. And that's another thing going back to the Defectors. It doesn't embrace the 70s music as much as I was expecting it to, because I'm so used to what Big Finish do with the Third Doctor range. It doesn't feel like it's going all out what we got in Voxet 1. It feels very sort of tame.
Yeah. I suppose that's maybe down to Nick Briggs not doing the sound design as well. I don't think he did it for Defectors, but he does it for pretty much every for Doctor box set, doesn't he? Music and sound design was Joe Kramer for the Defectors. Whereas, I'm pretty sure it's Nick on every single Third Doctor Adventures one. I think he gets that era when it comes to the soundscape of it and the music. Oh, Slashwell says, I love Last Assignment Part 1, one of my favourite opening episodes. It's with throwing out Second Doctor slander. It's easily better than all of the Invasion. Oof.
Oh, damn, that's
keep me safe. Protect me from the stylish one.
I found Lanky, though.
Here we go.
Here he comes. You'll have to give me a second while I send it over. But I will let you all embrace Lanky.
I will say part 1's the best part of this story. It's just all downhill from there. Part 4 is the worst.
Yeah, part 4 is the worst offender, but I had a good time. I think Zoe getting a bit of a I wouldn't say like love interest, but she has somebody very similar to her within the story.
I feel like that's something they did better in Wreck of the World.
I can't remember much about Wreck of the World. Has that email sent yet?
You get a reference to the ISOS network in this that wasn't even out yet.
Was it Alan Barnes who wrote this one?
Yeah, which very much explains all the references.
I wonder if I can save. Do you want to do a little rating for Last Assignment then while I load Lanky up?
3.
3 out of 10?
Maybe 4, if I'm feeling generous.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting it to be that low, but from the heck.
Yeah, I could not get along with this. I went in with an open mind. I thought, I didn't like this too much last time, but, you know, me and Big Finish, we've gone a long way since then. Maybe we can get over this little hurdle in our relationship, but no, it still stings.
Oh, damn.
I prefer Secrets of Telos.
Oh, there he is. There's Lanky on a tract with Yorkshire puddings and Yorkshire tea. But yeah, and a flat cap. So there's Farmer Lanky. Hopefully the wait was worth it, and it wasn't too distracting. For me, I kind of want to say it's my favorite of the trilogy.
Oh, really? Yeah,
I had
this one.
I had a good time with this one. I don't know why. I just had a lot of fun listening to it. I love, like you said, Six and Jamie sort of arguing, really.
Yeah, they're quite aggressive towards each other, aren't they?
Yeah, they're throwing fists,
Mm.
which is cool. I think the Cybermats they use pretty well within the story. I think they're a nice little addition within it.
Yeah, they do work well.
So I think I'll give it maybe an 8 or 8.5.
Bloody hell! Wow.
I had a good time with it. I had a good time. That's all I can say.
I won't take it away from you. For me, it just felt like the story thought it was clever, more clever than it was. It felt like it was showing off how clever it was trying to be. Especially, it's got a lot of twists in there as well.
Yeah, maybe this is like the Cold Vengeance difference. Maybe this is my Cold.
Yeah, we found
maybe
it.
That's it. Maybe that's
Good thing
it.
we're not tier listing these.
Yeah, it would be different on this.
Yeah, who knows where it'd end up.
We'd be on the opposite page of that. Yeah, I had a good time with it. As simple as.
That's fair enough.
I think maybe because I listened to After 40 as well. And I just wanted some good audio drama.
Did you ever go back to 40? I remember you mentioning.
I've not. I want to go back to it. Definitely will go back to it before September.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best time to do it, isn't it? Like go through it just before to lead you into Autumn Infinity.
But yeah, I had a good time. Yeah, that's the Sidemen. I rate it.
Okay. It's got Lanky at least.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a soft spot because I'm like, I just think of this lovely creation. And if people are tuning out, they'll be a bit confused.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember like the first time listening to it thinking, why are we doing a Cyberman with emotions and stuff? And who has this like accent, like this just mocking the Cybermen. And then just when I was starting to come around on them, like, oh, he's not really a Cyberman after all. I'm like, why would you do this to me? Oh, Brian Smith says, I would give Last of the Cybermen 6 as well. 6 and Jamie gel so well.
Well, they who made that combo.
Lanky image? So I just want to ask. It was you, wasn't it?
I think it was James, actually.
Oh, it
was James.
Oh, yeah, it's got his style on it.
Yeah, it's one of James's.
It's got that same look as the Shokai riding as RB.
Yeah.
Which, gonna have to find that now. On Gallifrey, no less.
I'll find that for another stream. Yeah. Maybe we can do like a stream just rating our old memes. Maybe that'd be maybe that'd be something to do.
If Dan Vanista art can get on TV, then Lanky should too, says Stylish One.
I mean, it's a lot more family friendly than Dan Vanista.
Maybe we could send it into the podcast. Say, hey, Nick, remember this character.
Would love it. Nick would love it. Yeah. That would be like the thumbnail of the podcast itself.
Oh, maybe.
That'd be high praise.
Yeah. We get James doing Big Finish covers soon.
Get Lanky's own spin-off, please.
Yeah. Are we gonna finish this up now with Secret History?
Let's do so.
Yeah.
A very different start compared to like the other ones, I would say.
Because I think this of the three, this one feels like the one that's trying to emulate the era the least.
But I think it's got a nice balance because you have that sort of far-flung space adventure, like the pre-title sequence, and you have the lovely historical main story, really. So I think it tries to not balance it, but you kind of get a flair of all these aliens, and then let's do a bit of historical.
Yeah. Then he sort of moved away from the historical bit. I will say part one's probably the best again. Because it really does embrace that historical much more. And you have these great characters such as the general. I can't remember his name now. I think I'm searching through the
cast list. While you do that, I really like the way the Fifth Doctor is introduced to Stephen and Vic, and I love that scene in the TARDIS with them sort of going, "You're not the Doctor," and then as soon as he flies the TARDIS, like, "I am," and they just accept it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that Stephen is the one who's a bit more critical of it, but then he ends up having his own subplot throughout a lot of this episode.
I'd say Stephen's probably one of the main driving of the story, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he gets to spend a lot of time with Quintus, really, and I think Graham Garden's great as the monk because he can play this nice side to the character as well. I think that's one of the things the monk works at his best when he's not an outright bad person.
Yeah,
and this story really does go in on that a fair bit,
especially in part 4. you know,
yeah. But he's very much misguided. And I think with Rufus Hound, because that is such a more extravagant portrayal, I
camp,
guess. Yeah, he does hams it
pure
up a
camp.
bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like that. I enjoy that portrayal. But it made me think.
I'm a Graham Gardner monk guy.
But yeah, before I went back to this story, it made me sort of think Graham Garden was quite tame in comparison. But then when I listen to this, he does have his fun moments in it. He is a very funny character. I think Rufus Hound's almost overshadowed that for me until now. And now I've sort of got a new appreciation of Graham Garden's monk also.
Yeah, I definitely prefer Graham Garden's monk.
Oh.
I think there's more of a sharpness to him, I feel.
Yeah.
Compared to Rufus Hound.
Yeah, Rufus Hound's more of the bumbling
Yeah.
side of the character turned up, really, isn't it?
But I swear this one has individual episode titles, I think.
Yeah, it does. I think it's the Gothic Wars or the Goth War.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Episode 3 is the Catastrophe Cure.
Mm-hmm.
I think episode 4 is the Winds of Time. I can't remember what episode 2 is.
I will say
like the Roman or something.
Probably, yeah, that makes sense.
This...
I do like the supporting characters within this. I like the Roman general.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I found out his name was Belisarius.
Belisarius, and I like his little advisor character.
Yeah, Procopius.
I like Procopius.
I like him mixing with the Fifth Doctor as well. Those two get along very nicely.
Because the way the sort of story divides is you got your part 1, then you've got the Fifth Doctor locked up. You've got Stephen in like Constantinople working at like the Hippodrome, and then you've got Vicky with Belisarius. So I think it balances each character out quite well.
Yeah, and it does very much have that First Doctor style of stakes where Stephen ends up going off to Constantinople, and yeah, it's like the quest is he's got to reunite with the Doctor and Vicky, really. And I think for a Hartnell story, that would probably have been almost enough.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, because this also has to be the end of this trilogy, you have the monk in there as well. And then he ends up taking the Doctor's place eventually. You like get a reference to the War Games where when the Time Lords take the Fifth Doctor out of time, you have that same sound effect of like the winds blowing in, don't you?
But it's all a trick.
Yeah.
Which I think is really, really nicely done. That little twist.
Nice how that, yeah. It's nice that adds context to the previous stories. Like you said, it was hinted at earlier, where it's him trying to get the Doctor to do something different so that it changes his timeline.
And I like that it's the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah.
Because the Seventh Doctor is the grand chess player. The Sixth Doctor's that sort of quite bold, assertive character, whereas the Fifth Doctor's more of a stand back and assess the situation and then act when it's necessary.
Yeah, but he hesitates. Just that one little bit of hesitation is all it took, really. It's not like he wouldn't have done what needed to be done.
And it's such a simple thing for him to, cock it up, whether he lets a plague stop, a year before.
Yeah, very interesting decision. I think that sort of highlights the theme of this trilogy as a whole, is that the Doctor, while being the same character, is sometimes different as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there are a lot of similarities and differences between them throughout their lives. And so having that be the focal point of why this is happening is a nice decision, almost a meta one as well, isn't it? It's like we want to see the Doctor in these different eras to see how they'd react to different things. The monk wants to have the Doctor in a different part of his life so that he can react differently, and then he could take advantage of that. So I think that's a nice touch there. And then the monk gets to have a bit of fun. It feels like it's cut too short though, because part 4 is a part 1 redux at first, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like
yeah,
you're going through the story again, but you feel like it's going too quickly, and you got to wrap it up too quickly.
I almost feel like part 4 should have been part 3.
But at the same time, I think you don't want to rush everything that's come before that. Like you need all the chariot race and stuff. It feels like maybe it should have been a 6-parter even.
I think, yeah, maybe it's one of those ones what would have benefited being in the relaunch. You know.
And also, it almost feels like or maybe it should have just been a separate story entirely. Like I think it's almost the limit of this story being part of this trilogy, because you need to have this as part of the trilogy to explain why all this is going on. But at the same time, it robs this story of being the 5th Doctor in the First Doctor's era, because it's also dealing with stuff from the 8th Doctor Lucy Miller run randomly.
Yeah.
And then, that's sort of all robbed a bit. It feels like there would have been an interesting story to tell with the monk just turning up as the Doctor at the start of it, and then seeing where things go from there. But you can't. That may have been the more interesting way to tell this story, but you can't really do that because the whole draw of this story is it's the 5th Doctor in this era. I mean, they're going back to it actually with the 2nd Doctor Companion Chronicles set, it seems.
Are they?
The one with what's Rufus Hound's monk in it, the Prince of Denmark. The synopsis is: the man Zoe travels through time and space with is a comical little man, eager to make a difference, to make things better. He's a man who loves the Earth, its history, its potential, and is happy to help things along where he can. And now Zoe is the only one standing between him and changing us unrecognisably, for the monk that plays the thing. So and I'm pretty sure when I read the Vortex article, it does very much say that it's a two-hander between these two. So it seems like something similar has happened here, where he's taken the 2nd Doctor's place now and is going around with Zoe.
I mean, that's going to be an interesting comparison then, because now we've experienced that to see how it falls. But yeah, this is a solid one. This is a solid one. This one is a good one.
Time meddler heightened, isn't it? Because he's no longer just meddling in history; he's meddling in people's personal history.
Yeah, I think the alien subplot's one of the weaker parts of it.
Yeah.
Like the big
Which one, actually? There's kind of two. Oh, yeah,
the big
head.
gargoyle heads, which cool on the cover. And that's one thing I remember being a bit
We were
more...
all thinking Weeping Angels, weren't we, when we saw
that? Yeah. I remember, like, back in the day thinking, oh, this is going to be like a big part of the story, and it never quite equated to much to it.
It doesn't feel quite like part of the Hartnell era.
It feels too out of the Hartnell era, yeah.
Especially when you've got these giant heads floating around and then turning into people. They sort of like they somehow like go down on other people's heads and then transform into them.
Become a Funko Pop.
Yeah, it's weird imagery to imagine. I think that's Eddie Robson's style, isn't it?
Yeah, he's quite humorous
stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I think that did bother me a lot more on first listen than it did this time. I was sort of like just accepting that and rolling with it really this time round. And I think again it's helped that we have had a lot more First Doctor authentic content there. So I don't need this to fill that gap, because I think we went into this trilogy needing that full cast feeling for the first 3 eras filled. And a lot of the stories didn't quite live up to that. But now we're getting that so much through all these different ranges that we could go back to these and enjoy them for what they are rather than what they could have been.
Because we've got a whole, 7 years of content under our belt since they came out.
Yeah.
So we've
had
had
so
the
many recasts in that time. It's just opened the doors so much for these different eras to have some proper representation in the Big Finish catalogue. Like we got 5 volumes of David Bradley as the Doctor,
which are probably
but
like
so
some of the
many
most
early adventures.
authentic
Yeah.
first Doctor stuff they do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'd say Secret History is a very fun time, especially the first 3 parts. And part 4 is pretty good as well for what it is. It's just sort of, it's in a rush to be tied up, isn't it?
Yeah. Part
Which
4,
is cool.
you kind of want another part tacked on to it, really, because I think you have that bit of the monk in the Doctor's timeline. Then it's like, we've got to get the Doctor back into it. And I think the way the resolution's done, it just feels a bit, well, we've got to quickly get through it now.
Yeah. It feels like, it doesn't feel like it's rushed in the sense that the events of this story should take place over 2 stories. It feels like the events should be almost completely different, but they have to be this way because there's no other way to really do it in one part.
It feels like it's trying to be too clever for its own good, because you've sort of got like a curse or fatal death thing of like, oh, I went and spoke to them before you did. So yeah, here they are.
Yeah, that's true. But it's nice that the Doctor uses that to his advantage, like his foreknowledge of what
Because
happens.
he's a week before the monk arrives, isn't he, in Constantinople?
Yeah. But it's all a bit. It's just a bit too convenient, isn't it, for the end?
Yeah.
It's just rushed to the conclusion because it has to be.
It sort of becomes quite self-indulgent with like the charity stuff, which I love the charity racing with like Stephen and that. But I think if you cut some of that stuff out, and I think the world building is wonderful within the story, and I wouldn't want to get rid of any of that because it really sets up the whole sort of state of the Roman Empire and all that sort of stuff. But
I think there's some great lines with Vicky about how, I can't remember if it's Vicky or Stephen, but one of them's talking about how it isn't around in their time anymore. And like you hear about this huge city, it's like one of the biggest civilizations on Earth at the time, and yet that's all lost now. Really, it's just very little of it remaining, if at all. I think there are maybe some ruins of it, but very much it's Istanbul now, isn't it? There, and that's completely different. There's like none of the original architecture there. And Vicky's just being so impressed by how huge this place is for something in this time period. Yeah, I think that's quite impressive. Making me want to go back and watch the Romans, actually.
It's sort of
slightly different, but
it doesn't have the comedy, but it does have the odd like one-liner, like Stephen when he's left on the stretcher and they're off doing something else when he's broke his leg. There's some good like little one-liners within there.
Yeah,
but it's
the
not
monk
leaning
as
on.
well. Graham Garden does have quite a few cracking lines,
but it's not like a carry-on like the Romans, really.
No, it's not as full on as that.
But yeah, still a good one. It is a very good one.
More just the setting and thinking about that just makes me want to watch the Romans or like continue this fix. Yeah, because whereas with most cities, you do like London, it's all like built up over time, isn't it? And so you have these different time periods almost mixing a lot of ways. You have this oldie worldy stuff next to brand new technology.
Skyscraper,
yeah. Whereas with this, you sort of get that image of this is something that's completely lost now, completely wiped away and replaced by something else. And I think that's sort of showing the miracle of Doctor Who's time travel, really, for the companions, that they do get to see these amazing places, not only out among the stars, but here on Earth. Because Earth does have interesting things.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So we can base lots of stories off it in Big Finish. We don't have to just leave it to the BBC because they don't have the budget to do space.
I was just going to say, going back to that first on Facebook.
Yeah, there we go. We brought it around to that.
Yeah, there we go. I'd say a fitting way of wrapping up the Locum Doctors trilogy.
I think it's limited by itself in the fact that it has to explain it, and so we're robbed of a full First Doctor story.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I guess in a way it's a bit like, but I guess this sort of started a whole trend in Big Finish of having like I wouldn't say like a multi-Doctor trilogy as such, but it started that you'd get one every year.
yeah, I mean, because we had 2 in a row before it. There's like that Shadowheart one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Burning Prince. I can't remember what the middle one is, and then there's the Shadowheart.
Yeah, the Akron Pulse.
Ah, yeah, that's it. And then after that, 2013, you had the 1963 trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
We took a year off of that. We got 2 Colin trilogies in 2014. Yeah. But then this sort of came around, and then we had the Master trilogy. And I think, is it? Oh, it's a double bill one after that. And then that's when you start to think you're sort of forcing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Unit sort of after that, but then that was a bit different.
But that's sort of spread across the year, really.
Yeah, like Hour of the Cyberman was part of a Colin trilogy, much better Colin Cyberman story. Just saying.
All right, I'll agree with that. I can't deny that one because I do like Hour of a Cyberman.
Yeah. But yeah, this does sort of feel like the beginning of having multi-Doctor trilogies for the sake of it.
Yeah, because you have that again, 2017. I think you had that trial double bill, wasn't it? It was like Vortex Ice, Cortex Fire, Alien Heart, Dalek Soul, Shadow Planet, and World Apart, was it, or something like that?
Yeah. It also feels like it was an odd time in the year to have it as well. Like for this, it makes sense because you've got to get the what was it? 200th release. You can't really move that about. But then, like with the 2 Masters, it feels like maybe you should have pushed that back to November or something.
Mm-hmm.
And like had that there. Because especially with when they flipped it round and had the 5th Doctor one first and the 7th Doctor one, what you ended up with was 4 months of 5th Doctor, then 1 6th Doctor release, then 4 months of 7th Doctor.
Yeah.
And it just was a bit much. I feel like it did need to be mixed up a bit, really.
I mean, do you feel like it was a satisfying sort of way of wrapping it up and like a way of celebrating 200 main range stories?
Not really. But I haven't really listened to many of the ones before that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But I think it's because we've got this excuse to celebrate something, we might as well do it by celebrating things that haven't been done in the main range, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because this isn't really a celebration of the main range. This is a celebration of Doctor Who in a different way. It just happens to coincide with 200 release of the main range, I'd say.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
Yeah. But yeah, like it doesn't really bother me that this isn't a celebration of the main range. Because it's such a good idea that it's just nice to have a good doctoral idea as something, an excuse to do something special. What about you?
I as somebody who likes the main range, I think it did need McGann to be more of a celebration of the main range because he was very much a face of the main range as much as the other ones, and I was glad that he came back for End of the Beginning. But I guess Big Finish was set in their own ways of going, look, this McGann's in his box sets now, and the main range is.
He was very busy at this time as well.
Oh, but come on, McGann. I mean, granted, he's made up of it like the lockdown recordings give us like Time Lord Victorious and War Master, so it's not like we've been cut short.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot more McGann lately. I'm sure we'll continue to
which is never a bad thing.
No. I mean, now he's sort of been replaced by Tennant as the one who's hard to get.
Yeah.
Really?
That is true.
Yeah.
But I feel looking back on that as a trilogy to say that it's wrapping up the end of the main range's sort of arcs at that point. I don't feel like it is that convoluted, to be honest. It doesn't feel like it is wrapping up, ready for that fresh start.
No, it's more just getting something out of the way because you have the older Nissa arc wrapped up just before this, and then this is more just like, okay, we're at 200 now. we've got an excuse to do something special here. Oh, this is something special. And I'm fine with that. But yeah. And then we get on to the fresh start after that.
Which is a very good trilogy. Which I wouldn't mind revisiting at some point.
No, I think one of the reasons we decided not to do that too soon was because that would be straight after this, and we don't want to go too big on 2015. We want to find something else so that we get a bit of variety.
Because we're probably going to do something else 2015 story related very soon.
Yeah, that's very true.
But just to wrap up Secret History, we didn't give it a rating. So what would you rate Secret History?
I'd say a 7 or an 8 again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that score.
Yeah, I think I saw Brian Smith gave it a 9 in the chat.
Really enjoyed it.
That's very fair.
I mean, it is a good story. It is a good story. I do like Eddie Robson. Right, you know.
A thought on a way to involve McGann, weirdly. What if one of the Fourth Doctor adventures that came out like April, May, or June had McGann in it instead of Tom?
That would have been a nice little thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like, that's only a 1-disc story as well, so I think that would have been series 4.
Yeah. Imagine him in like Cloister of Terror. Yeah. But then the Fourth Doctor kind of had his own Locum Doctor story in like Return to Telos.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, it is Return to Telos. I questioned myself there with like Secret to Telos. I was like, do I get the right one? Do I get the right Telos?
The fact that they're both Tomb sequels as well.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Or midquel, I think they call it now.
Okay.
Because it's set during it.
All right.
Weird how that works out, but yeah.
It's all good.
I mean, I suppose you could maybe say Sharda.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. That is true. Should have listened to Sharda for this.
But
yeah.
I mean, that's sort of doing a similar thing as well, taking the Doctor out of time.
Oh yeah.
It's Time Lord technology as well. It scoops them up. Yeah. Do you think that the technology used in the War Games is the time scoop?
I think it probably is.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm sure there's a TARDIS wiki thing. Links it. There's always an answer on TARDIS wiki. Yeah.
I'm just getting the ice cream cone images now, like going down after the all the soldiers in the wars.
Oh, fly. But yeah, that is Locum Doctors. After nearly a year's wait, we finally ticked it off the list. It's done.
We'll have our throwbacks.
Overall, I probably have no appreciation for it. I don't think because I think it was at a time when I wouldn't say being an edgelord, because I don't think I was that type of person. No. But I
think we were a bit edgy, but we weren't full on edgy.
Yeah,
we could have been much worse.
We could have been worse, but I think we've slightly mellowed, and we enjoy majority. I'd say, yeah, I just enjoy Doctor Who now.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't be spending this much money on Big Finish and collection Blu-rays.
Yeah, that is
and
true.
B&M figures in your case.
Yeah, it swings and roundabouts, you know. But yeah, I think Locum Doctor's good idea on paper. Sadly, the parts are all there to make such a good, unique trilogy. Sadly, it just falls short in many of the cases of the final acts for many of them.
Yeah, I mean, it could have almost been a trilogy of trilogies.
Like,
imagine that if like 192 to 200 was a Seventh Doctor and Joe trilogy, followed by a Sixth Doctor Jamie and Zoe trilogy, then a Fifth Doctor Stephen and Vicky trilogy.
I would have liked that, because I think I'm surprised how well Five and Stephen and Vicky work.
Great pairing.
They work very well.
I think just Stephen and Vicky in general, I really do enjoy them together.
Yeah, I enjoy Series 5 of the Early Adventures just because it's a nice series with them.
Yeah. And I mean, the Ravelli Conspiracy. That's another cracker.
That is a cracker one.
Yeah,
That's a brilliant pure story.
Maybe we'll have to go back to some early adventures. We've done this whole tier list of them, but
it's not going to work to review them.
No.
Yeah, that'd be a nice little throwback. Get a nice sort of, maybe to celebrate First Doctor. Maybe could do like an early adventure.
Yeah.
Early adventure.
Yeah, we could maybe you could put a poll up actually.
That'd be good.
Yeah, like we'll pick a couple of early adventures and then
do a bit of a random one.
Yeah. It's yeah. Let us know what you think of that, guys.
Yeah, or if there's any stories you want to see us review within reason. Don't say Lady Christina.
No, don't make us buy something.
Yeah.
We have an extensive enough collection as it is. You can pick from many of those.
Yeah. So
how's your collection sorting going, by the way, YouTube?
Yeah, I hope you're doing all right. I saw you were doing the figures, and I hope that they haven't done dominoes on you, because there are some figures what will just make your life hell as a figure fan. But yeah, if there's any stories you'd like to see us do for like a little throwback one, maybe we could do like 3 random stories to review. That'd be cool. I'm sure we'll find a way of making them link somehow, because that's just how our brains work, and we like to catalog things.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it'd be very interesting to
watch. It's synergy, isn't it?
Yeah,
everything's nicely lined up.
Yeah.
But speaking of figures, Stylish One asks what figures I have. And I mean, I don't have a massive collection. Nothing in comparison to what Ben has to his left there. Or, well his right, but from our point of view, his left.
Yeah.
Hidden away there. But I have got 5 different Daleks, mostly 60s. I got the Unit Claws of Axos set. Got 12th Doctor, the 3rd Doctor in the blue Invasion of Dinosaurs look, along with the Joe and Master that came in that B&M set. 10th Planet Cyberman, and a Roboman. There you go. That's a quick rundown of those. Yeah, they're all stood in front of some Big Finish CDs at the moment.
I see. I've done that with a few duplicates. I put like a Tom, like a spare Tom with the 4th Doctor stuff, and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool.
Oh, I saw someone on Twitter had this amazing little collection. Like, I have nowhere near enough space for this. They had like these little boxes, these like box-shaped shelves. You know, you could get those.
Yeah,
and like they put different lighting in each one of them, like this mood, like red or blue.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then it was like a TARDIS from that era, a collection set in there as well, and then the figures, or like a couple of collection sets and stuff. Maybe, I don't know if there was any Big Finish in there as well, but it was like done by Doctor, and it looked incredible. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I do recall seeing that on Twitter.
I mean, you're gonna need some space to do that with all like 26 box sets.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that'd be cool. I mean, hopefully one day we'll have like a man cave room and we can have all our stuff out and go, that's ours. That's cool.
Yeah. A little museum room.
Yeah, pretty much, isn't it? That's like your life's work.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
what we put our whole heart and soul into.
And we love it dearly.
Imagine if you had like a little boss life-size recreation, and you sit down there and you put the headphones on, and that's how you listen to your Big Finish.
I'm so gonna do that.
There you go. Move aside, life-size Dalek as a new.
I'm gonna have boss on the wall.
Yeah.
To be honest, he's cheaper than a Dalek. To be honest, he's just like a chrome circle and a bit of red paint and a light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. There we go. Bit of boss. Oh. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much us done. We'd love you to review the Time Museum with William Russell.
You picked that one up, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got that one.
Or did you pick that one up, or was that the one that they sent you by accident?
Oh yeah, they sent me that by accident. That one
when it was out of print.
When it was out of print. So this is like this is a weird little tangent, but when they had like the Companion Chronicles on sale, I ordered, I think, Uncertainty Principle or something like that, or Second Chances. It was one of the Zoe ones, and they sent me the Time Museum, bearing in mind that was out of print. So it makes you wonder: was that sent from their own like collection, or is something that was it not logged in the warehouse?
Yeah, maybe it like fell into the wrong box.
Yeah,
Fell into the Uncertainty Principle section.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. But then they'd see, but it says the Time Museum.
Surely, yeah, but maybe they don't check that.
I don't know.
So I think with warehouse work, it's very much like where it's coded and stuff, isn't it? Like they might not even be sent the title of it; they might be sent the code for the box, and then they just have to go open that box up and take the CD out.
Yeah, it was just strange to know, but that's out of print. But yeah, there it was. Yeah, really bizarre.
Nice little rarity for you.
But I had to send it back to get the audio I wanted. So yeah, there'll be no giveaway of the Time Museum as it's back in Slough.
Oh.
And that's going back a couple of years ago.
Did you get briefly popped up on the website?
I don't know. I don't know if it popped back. I don't know. Be interesting. Should have put like a little GoPro on and just found out what happened.
Yeah, what happened to
the CD?
Have that be a live stream.
That'd be live stream the little Big Finish warehouse.
You do get like random live streams like that, don't you? Where someone's stuck, like is watching something, and it's just like waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, that is strange.
I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but wasn't there one where it's like a plane landing recently during a storm?
Oh, was it big? Was it Big Jets?
Yeah,
when it was like Storm Eunice. Yeah, and everyone was watching it. Yeah. Yeah.
Weird times.
I'm so jealous of Ben's collection of figures. It's been a lifetime of work, those figures. And I love them dearly. That out of all the Doctor Who stuff I get, they're my favourite. Sorry, Big Finish. But I've got more of an attachment to the figures. Why do you guys think the black and white figures look so cool? I think they're a novelty. I think that's why.
Yeah.
They're just out there compared to other Doctor Who. I mean, we only had the two. Technically, you could say the War Games TARDIS fits them quite well. But they're striking because there's no other figures like it, and I think that in years to come they're going to be kind of really sought after collector's items, to be honest.
Yeah,
because it's like, because my dad says this because he used to get like the Action Men. The one figure, like the rarest Action Man, I think, is like the Highland one because he had a kilt, and boys don't want, an Action Man with a skirt. That was their logic, and that become the rarest one. Whereas, as a what are you more likely to get? A figure what's going to stand in with your other collection, or you're going to get a black and white one where it doesn't quite align with the collection. So I think that it's going to be one of those cases, I feel.
Yeah, I think especially when you're a kid and your funds are limited there, you really like, it's not just a choice of I could get both. It is very much, it's either one or the other, isn't it, at that age?
Yeah. And especially the Film Planet exclusives, they were like 25 quid a pop. So to get those four, that would have been 100 quid. You're not going to have 100 quid pocket money as a kid. Unless it's been your birthday or Christmas.
And you're not going to spend it on the same figures twice.
Yeah,
you're going to want to go get like your Third Doctor and your Maggots or something, aren't you?
Which, you're probably going to have more enjoyment out of. Yeah, because they came out. Yeah, because around that time you had like the Fourth Doctor Adventure set, Sixth Doctor Regeneration, Real Time 6, and then you had your Third Doctor figures coming out in October. So it was.
There you go.
What a time to be alive. And you had David Tennant as a Doctor, full of merchandise. Doctor was still in the shops. It's all cool.
Yeah. Now it's all on Fortnite.
I mean, Fortnite's beyond me.
I'm happy it's getting out there, though. I mean, I'm not going to sit and play it, but
Yeah,
it's nice to know that it's
yeah.
pushing this big brand somehow. It shows that the brand is in a healthy enough state. It could be doing better, but we're not on death's door.
Yeah, I sort of have to laugh about the Fortnite thing because, like, there are hardcore Doctor Who fans who are so out there into exploring every bit of Doctor Who that they want to consume every story. And I think as soon as you realise you're never going to consume every Doctor Who story,
No, there's
life
not enough
becomes a
money
bit.
in the world.
Yeah, your life becomes a bit more happy,
Yeah.
and you just check into the bits that interest you. That's fine.
That's expensive enough as it is.
Yeah, it's expensive enough, getting into Big Finish and all that. But with like Fortnite, you're gonna have the die-hard, neckbeard fans who are going to solely download Fortnite just so they can say they've experienced that bit of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. It's like that game was it Edge something where it's like you fly spaceships.
Oh, Eve, yeah.
Eve, yeah.
Yeah, that was another bizarre cross. I think that's an even more bizarre one because people who play Eve have no knowledge of what Doctor Who is, and then the people who like Doctor Who
have no knowledge of
that.
I've
no, because it is. I think from what I've seen, it's quite a hardcore game. Like you have to be deep into this. It's not very noob and user friendly, and so a lot of the stuff that people would want to unlock who are Doctor Who fans, they wouldn't even get to that point in time because it was only a limited window anyway.
I mean, it did look kind of cool. I will say that. But yeah, bring back the adventure games, I say.
There we go. That was the peak of Doctor Who.
that was when I was a hardcore gamer, and I'm not a gamer.
No. Maybe we do that for a stream.
Mate, yeah, that'd be cool. Play. I've still got it downloaded.
That's where James was thinking about that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
going to do a let's play of it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, and do like a commentary on it.
Yeah. There we go. Maybe something to look forward to one. Maybe when Matt Smith joins Big Finish, we could do that.
Yeah, maybe I'll be so yeah. If Matt Smith joins Big Finish, we'll do an adventure game and play along, or we'll play the DS game,
or the Wii game. Or was it the Eternity Clock?
I'd never played the Eternity Clock. Never played that one. I played the Return to Earth, the Wii game, and the DS one. I think that's
that's
Evacuation Earth. I think.
Yeah, I played the Wii Return to Earth or Evacuation Earth. I can't remember which one it was the Wii one and which one's DS. But I played the Wii one for about half an hour, got stuck at one bit, and then just never bothered to go back to it.
Yeah, I think I'll say with me with it, to be honest. What areas of the 12th Doctor would you most like to see explored on Big Finish?
Season 10.
Series 10 would be good. I mean, I would like to have a resolution with Missy and the Daleks. I think that's one what's dying to be made, but I think wait for Capaldi.
Yeah. I think you could get away with doing that as just a Missy box set, though.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe it's worth waiting for Capaldi with that one.
I'd like more Series 8 sort of dark Capaldi. I think if Capaldi was to join Big Finish, I think he'd have a lot of say like Eccleston, and I think that he'd want that no-nonsense Doctor.
Yeah, he'd probably want a bit more of that.
So I'd be down for that, actually, because I quite like Series 8, to be honest.
No. I have 50-50 on it. I need to, a lot of it I need to revisit.
I mean, that'd be an interesting stream in itself, because, I wouldn't say I'm a Moffat apologist, but I like Moffat's era. But yeah. I guess that's our stream done for this Friday.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
It's been a good one to do a nice little throwback. It's sort of cool to do a 2015 one because it's like that's when we started Big Finish fans.
Yeah, this loop around was one of the first Big Finish fans we did as well, isn't it?
I think it was like number 5 or 6, something daft like that.
Yeah,
I think it was 5 because it was like in the Mega News update, and then I think number 6 was The Last Adventure.
See, I think we used to do these more like closer to monthly, really, didn't we? And so we
Yeah.
ended up with a lot more news to talk about.
I think because we did like High Council as well, it was like, well, let's
Yeah, we
focus
don't want to.
bash on that. But yeah, I think we've definitely revived Big Finish fans.
Yeah, Hooven High Council sadly still in the mud a bit, but
it will come back.
That's not within our power.
Yeah, that's not ours. But hopefully one day.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get the band back together.
For one night only, maybe.
Yeah. Thought you'll kill each other again.
And then go off into hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the Locum Doctors Trilogy. A new appreciation for it. Still the same faults we had, but maybe we've got kind of age.
Yeah. Well, except for Last of the Sidemen with me, but
yeah, it's fine. You can get away with it.
Yeah. I think I tried it. That's the main thing.
I mean, you're not going to revisit in a hurry, I don't think.
No. I mean, that's the thing. Like, so much new stuff coming out as well. So much other old stuff to go back and revisit. Like this, it's had its revisit for now. It's not going to get another one for a couple of years at least.
I mean, I think that's a lovely. I think doing these streams is a lovely excuse to go. Yeah, let's give that a listen again.
Yeah, it gives you the motivation, doesn't it? Whereas before you think, I'm kind of in the mood for that, but then Big Finish will drop something new, and you'll be like, "Oh, I've got to listen to this now."
Yeah, it's a bit like with Fourth Doctor Solo. I was like, I should be listening to Secret History.
But just making you feel even more guilty about it.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, damn, I'm enjoying this, but I've got Secret History. Yeah, but there we go.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and
Thank you for
to our
joining.
opinions on this 7-year-old audios.
Yeah, and I'm sure me and Luke will have a little chat in a matter of minutes and decide what we'll do for a next throwback, and we'll put a poll out on Twitter and the YouTube community tab, and yeah, we'll pick some stories to do a little random review, a little throwback to. As for next week's stream, who knows what it will be? Who knows?
We don't even know yet.
We don't know.
Yet to be decided as well.
It could be Mind of the Hodiak, because that could be coming out next week, and that would be I mean, we get our McCoy with Damaged Goods, so it'd be good to dip back into the Seventh Doctor's world.
Yeah, we're not short on options, but just settling on what to do.
Could be a Sontaran tier list, could be anything, you know. There we are. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you all very soon. And we'll probably see you on Tuesday for the season 9 tier list from our past selves. So yeah, thank you everyone. Stay safe and